There we go. We have a little delay there. My live did not want to go live. It still doesn't over here on Instagram. You know? Huh. Yeah. Well, all right. We're getting an error message from Instagram. It says that I have to reconnect. So we're going to try one more time to reconnect Instagram and see if that will work. Sorry, guys. I did everything the way that I normally do, but for some reason, let's try this again. It did not want to add it. Let's see. We're going to try again and see if it'll actually work. Sorry, guys. All right, nope, copy. Okay, there we go. See if it'll actually connect this time. Just gave me an error message before. Now let's see. Let's try again. Come on. Wake up, please. Aha, there we go. Awesome sauce. Hey there. Hi, Monique. Hi, Sarah. So yeah, today is the Wednesday when we have the Patreon crochet along sit and stitch or Q&A session right before this one. So time was a little tight. And I am currently opening up the March issue of Crochet Foundry. Oh, and it opened it on the wrong window. So let me toss that over onto the correct window. Here we go. And that way we can take a look at it because the March issue of Crochet Foundry has come out and it is pretty darn awesome, if I do say so myself. Okay. Oh, and Susan is here. Hello, Susan. All right. So yeah, this is on Friday. The March issue came out, and then we have we're going to have an April/May issue, a double issue next month, which will come out on, I'm just going to check and see, I can't remember the exact date, the 11th. I'm almost positive it's going to come out on April 11th. We were putting it out on the second Friday next month. So I'll make sure you guys know when that all is happening. All right. Because then in May, we will put out our first seasonal issue. We're going to start doing them seasonally because I want to give more focus to the community. And, you know, having things like crochet alongs and blog hops and all of that. And in order to be able to give you guys more of that sort of content, I need the time. And so that's why we're doing the magazine down to seasonal issues, so that we can do, you know, more tutorials and everything like that. And actually, now that I said that, that reminds me, I'm going to open up here on my second screen as well some post that I did for the crochet along. So that way you all can see all of that stuff too. So why don't we actually talk about that? All right. So we have Monique says hi. Sarah says hi. Whew, excuse me. Susan over here said hi. You know, there we go. I don't even know that the Instagram was fully connected until just now. I think it was still thinking about it. Let me tell you guys, I would really be happy if Instagram and StreamYard would get along a little better. I'm pretty sure Instagram only just now started working, and it's 12:05. Somebody said hi, Mom. My child said hi, Mom. Why is my child? Oh, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, my child is here on Instagram. She said hi, Mom. Is that? Yeah, she changed her Instagram name, but that's her. She's in school lunchtime. It's lunchtime. I mean, they didn't go to school until like 10 o'clock this morning, but I guess it's lunchtime. Got it. Now she's just like typing kids. All right. Sarah says, I really love the patterns this month. We want to make everything in the issue, but rarely do I want to make everything in an issue, but I totally want to make everything. There were some pretty epic patterns in this month's issue. So we're going to look at that in a minute. Before we look at that, I do want to talk about, we have the crochet along. So here, let me take my hook out so that I don't drop it. And let me just actually stick a stitch marker on the loop so that I don't unravel it. And you can see this was actually the, what month is this? This is March. So this was actually the February. Yeah, this was the February crochet along. And it's this cape, right? Hooded cabled cape, which I still have. I have a couple more rows I need to do on the bottom. And then I'm going to give it a little border and a little like faux fur kind of fuzzy border on the neck. I mean, on the hood and everything. So because the February crochet along started late and has kind of gone into March, and then the March crochet along, it's a little bit smaller. It's a bag, but it still may kind of move a little bit into April. We were just picking out on the live for people who are patrons. We just had that Zoom live for patrons only, Patreon patrons, and we picked out a couple of patterns for April and May that are really small patterns and will help us get caught up, because then June, July, and August, what happened is because we are switching over to seasonal issues with the magazine, right? Initially, when I scheduled June, July, and August and was choosing all the designs, they each needed like one more design than what I had chosen from the proposal. So I added a design in each one that was mine, right? Something that I was designing. When I combined those three into one issue, there were way too many patterns. I mean, like, I want to make sure they have a lot more patterns now that there's one issue for an entire season. But it was a little excessive. So what I did was took my 3 patterns, and those are going to be the 3 crochet alongs. After that, we'll start having like voting for the various crochet along. Like I'll choose several patterns, and we'll or I'll let you guys suggest patterns, and then we'll do a little poll to vote for any that the patrons can vote on for what the crochet along pattern will be. But for June, July, and August, it turns out they're all skirts. Okay, Miss Manley says hi. Hi, Miss Manley. That would be my child's art teacher. And oh, Namaste Pugs. That's Monique. I mean, that's Monica. Monique is here. Monica says, hi all. I like your Instagram name. That's cute. First of all, the pugs made me think it was Monica, and then I actually looked in the picture. It's Monica. She's awesome. She shows pugs. She's a crocheter. She's one of us. Normally she's on the other one. She's like the first one on, but I didn't get the link for this up very early today. So now she's over on Instagram. Anyway, so the June, July, and August crochet along patterns are going to be 3 different skirts. And what we talked about today on our Patreon Live is that I'm not on YouTube. I should be on YouTube. Oh no, Monique said hi from YouTube right here. So you know what? It might have just taken a minute, Monica, because I didn't remember to pre-schedule this one. Normally I pre-schedule the StreamYard like earlier on in the day on Wednesday. And then I think it shows up for you guys like an hour or half an hour before it goes live. But I didn't, because I had the Zoom meeting right before this one. I forgot to pre-schedule it before the Zoom meeting. So I literally just did it right before I went live. So it's kind of hard to find everything today because I didn't quite do things in the right order. But here we have Monique, and over on YouTube, she says she likes the mermaid bag. Yes, going to make that and the Kel as well. Had to miss the February Kel and you regret it. That's okay, Monique. Don't worry about it. Monique is on YouTube. Yes. So for June, July, and August, since they're each going to be a skirt, and I don't know that you'll all want to make a skirt or necessarily 3 skirts. what I'm doing is for June, July, and August, there will be 2 different patterns that are the suggested crochet along patterns. So it will be the skirt, and anybody who is a patron on any of the paid tiers will get the pattern for each of those 3 skirts, one for June, one for July, and one for August. You'll get the PDF pattern for that. If you're not a patron, then that's a sale only pattern. It's not free anywhere. And in addition to that, I'll also choose one of a smaller pattern that is free on the internet, to be the second suggested pattern. So if you don't want to make the skirt, or if you don't want to make 3 skirts, or if you don't have the time, or however it goes, each of those 3 months, there'll be the skirt pattern that is, the PDF is free to the patrons, and you can buy it on Crochet Foundry or various other places if you're not a patron. And then there'll also be a smaller pattern where the PDF is free to the patrons, but there'll be a free online pattern on Jessie at Home. Okay, a free pattern online on Jessie at Home. So that's like an ad supported site. And that's how you can get it for free. So you'll still be able to do a smaller pattern in June, July, and August if you don't want to do the big skirts. All right. Because I just figured that a skirt every month for 3 months might, not necessarily be the most realistic thing. So we're finishing up the February crochet along. That is this cape. And then we have the March crochet along that is a bag. I'm actually currently adding 2 more sizes. It was more of like a regular, like kind of purse bag size. So I'm making a bigger size for a tote bag and a smaller size for like a phone bag. And that's the March one. And then April is going to be another small pattern. So we can get ourselves caught up. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I want to show you a post I have up for the February crochet along. Here we go. I had to find the right button. Okay, so if you go over here, let me put this up. If you go over to Jessie at Home, you can always, it's actually, if you go to Jessie at Home and you click on blog, this is actually the first post right now. It won't always be, but for now it is. And let me just also give you the link. Okay. So here is the link. All right. And this is tips and tutorials for the hooded cabled cape pattern. And I need to put you'll see this is not, the post isn't 100% done yet. Okay. But I wanted to make sure that everything that is done is up here. So we have a table of contents, and if you click on any of these, it'll take you to that spot. So if you're like working on things and you just need the left-handed tutorial for the last few rows of the hood, you can just go in the table of contents and click on that, and it'll bounce you right down to it. It's like the, take me to the recipe links. All right. So you can choose where you need to go and just go there. I give you tips on, hey, if you need to adjust for the gauge, this is where I say, if you adjust for the gauge, then follow the customize your style. And so here's where you can first find whatever gauge you are actually working with. So that means if you're using a yarn that is smaller or larger, I doubt you're going to use a yarn that's larger than the suggested yarn, because the suggested yarn was Lion Brand Scarfy, which is a bulky yarn, or a size like 5. Is that 5? Yeah, because worsted is 4. So it's a size 5. But if you're using a different size yarn, then I show you, this is how you find your gauge. Once you've found your gauge, you then need to decide how wide you want your hood to be. So like when you wear a hood like this, and one of the things I tell you is if you have like a hoodie, something with a hood on it, where you like the size of the opening of the hood, take that and measure it from the start of the hood around the opening to the end of the hood. If you don't have something like that that's in the size that you like, then the other thing you can do is you can take like a scarf or a pillow or a piece of fabric. Here, look, here, I have some fabric right here. Okay. And you can like go in front of the mirror with like your scarf or your you know, maybe it's a pillowcase or just like, you know, a sheet, whatever you have, stand in front of your mirror, right? And and drape it like it's going to be the hood of your thing, and then go, okay, do I want my hood like this so that it's really tight against my face? Do I want it more, you know, like this? And once you figure out this, the how much like extra space, how much ease or whatever you want in your hood, once you figure out like what size you want the opening of your hood to be, you kind of go, okay, I want it from here to here. And then you take it from here to here and you measure that with a measuring tape. Okay. And that is how you can determine what length you want your hood to be. I know some people will just take the measuring tape and do that, but it's a lot. You're going to get a measurement you're happier with if you take like a scarf or a piece of fabric or something and kind of drape it that way first. It's going to give you a more realistic measurement. Okay, so you figure out how big you want your hood opening to be, and then I give you all the like formulas for how to determine the sizes and the numbers of everything you need. I explain to you how to move those numbers into the pattern. And that this goes all the way through the hood. And by the end of the week, it'll go through the entire pattern. Okay. Then we have our video tutorials. I show you these, there will be links activated here shortly, where you can find the tutorials if you are a patron without ads. And then also where you can find them on YouTube, because some of you might have an ad blocker that makes it so that you can't see these. All right. If you're ever trying to watch a video on Jessie at Home and you can't see them, like this doesn't show up, you probably have an ad blocker that's actually blocking the videos as well. All right. So you can either turn off your ad blocker or you can go find them on YouTube. Either way, they're going to have ads on them. If you turn off your ad blocker, they'll have ads on them on my site. If you don't turn off your ad blocker and you go to YouTube, they're still going to have ads on them on YouTube. The only way to get them ad free is to be a patron. All right, so here I have, first I did the right-handed tutorials and I did the left-handed tutorials. And you can see we have them all here that you can watch them. They're broken up into smaller pieces just because they really have to be less than 10 minutes long each to properly like work on the site, to work like well and not slow everything down and all of that. So that's why I tend to break up a lot of the tutorials. And the nice thing about that is it means that you can find the exact spot you need and go to that, right? So that's where we are here. You can go through the tutorials, click on the one you need, and it will help you out. So these tutorials go all the way through the cape. There will still be one or two last tutorials for the finishing, okay? Probably just one. I think here we have another comment. Let's take a look. Come on. Thank you. Okay, yes, there were issues when Monique first tried to get on to Instagram, to YouTube. She said there were some issues. So yeah, it was yeah, things get weird sometimes on YouTube. On usually things get weird on Instagram. All right, so that is the crochet along stuff. So now here we go. Here is the March issue. Okay, the March issue, all of our spring photos were taken at my local yarn shop called Yarnia in Montclair, New Jersey. And they are freaking awesome. And you can find them online at shopyarnia.com. And they do have things that you can order online. And if you're ever over here in this area of New Jersey, you should definitely stop by, because it is a freaking fabulous store and they are like everybody friendly. All right. You can knit, you can crochet, you can weave, you can be making friendship bracelets. You can be, you know, doing whatever. If you want the stuff, if you need to use the stuff that they have in their store, they're happy that you're there and they love to hear about it. All right. They are freaking just epically awesome. Okay. So here we go. On our cover is the lovely Crystal. And with a couple of really cool patterns by Rachel Field. And this is the mermaid purse set, which you will see more about shortly. Okay, and you can see our theme is set it off. And what that means is that the theme, set it off, every pattern in here is actually a set of patterns. So there's 4 sets of patterns, which would be 8 individual patterns plus a bonus pattern, which is what makes it 9 patterns in the issue. Okay, so here we go. Some little sneak peeks there. All right, and a little thank you to Shop Yarnia with a little link to go there. All right, and welcome to the Foundry. Let's see, meet the designers. So we have some absolutely fabulous designers, who I just adore, all of them. All right. So yay! Look at that. I was telling Sarah that I bought the magazine at the very, very end of 2023, like the last week of 2023, right? And the January 24 issue, while this was not an every issue thing for Crochet Foundry when I bought it, it just so happened that the January issue, which was the first issue that I owned, even though I had like nothing to do with making it, but the January issue, every single designer in the Meet the Designers area was a white lady. I'm like, that is so not going to happen again. Like, I can't. Just because the models are diverse, I can't say that we're diverse if like every single designer is a white lady and every single like staff member is a white lady. So like, I do my best to make sure that does not happen anymore. I've worked really hard at making sure the design calls go out to a nice to a nice diverse group of people. And if the design call goes out to a diverse group of people, and then you choose the best from that group, you're still going to get a diverse group. Okay, let's see. Hold on. There's a couple comments here, like that it has been broken down step by step. Yes. Let's see. Beautiful shop and models. Yes. Love the mermaid set. And Monique is like Sarah. She likes them all. Like I said, it is an exceptionally awesome group of patterns. Okay, so yeah, so I every time I set up the Meet the Designers section, I'm so happy that it's not a bunch of white ladies. Like we have 2 of us here. We've got Rachel and I are your little white ladies, and then we've got a couple other people in here too who aren't just like typical white ladies, which is awesome. I love it. It makes me happy. All right. So we have behind the connection, behind the collection. Okay. And this is Rashami's Boho Bliss Duo set. Okay. And I love that you can see how this is it looks like something that you would buy in like a dance catalog or whatever, right? Like I used to work with dancers, and I would totally see them wearing things like this at rehearsals and such, you know? And then there's this is a table runner, right? It's a freaking table runner. And she takes these 2 things and turns them into this just fabulous design that it's lovely. I adore it. And so it's just fun to see how that like all comes about, right? Let's see. So I point out to you that we have a new Patreon page at the Foundry, and then March is also Red Cross month. And it was funny because as I was putting this together, my husband and daughter had just both donated blood, and my husband got his 8-gallon pin, and my daughter, it was her first time it was actually her second time donating blood, because she had done it at the school once before, but this was her first time donating it through the Red Cross, because my husband goes to the Red Cross every 3 months to donate because he's O negative, which is the universal donor. So that's why he got his 8-gallon pin, because he's O negative. He's the universal donor. So he goes every time he can. And then this time he brought my daughter with him. And so it was her first time donating at Red Cross. So she got like a little, a gift card or something. I don't remember, but it's actually March is actually Red Cross month. But that was really cute. And then I said that if you're like my son and I, who can't donate blood, my son can't donate blood because he's tiny. And I can't donate blood because I have these really thin veins that roll. And I actually, literally, I was asked to please never attempt to donate blood because I do a really good impression of a starving vampire. And I just waste people's time. So I'm like, okay, would you like me to hand out cookies? So like, there are ways that you can help. You can always give money. There are ways you can volunteer. And there's all sorts of ways you can help. So you don't have to, if you can't give blood, there are so many reasons why you might not be able to give blood. There are other ways you can help other than donating blood. All right, so I give you some of those and you'll see some ads throughout. All right, and then Joanne, our fabulous article writer, Joanne, who's also often one of our fabulous designers, is putting out a series of posts on working with different kinds of yarn. Some of them are going to be in Crochet Foundry, some of them will be on her site, but it's a whole series of posts on how to work with different kinds of yarn. So this post is about how to have success working with wool yarns. All right. And Sarah lives in the UK. So if you're like, wait, that's not how you spell woolen or color or favorite or cozy, it's because Joanne lives in the UK, and that's how you spell it there. And they're all looking at us like we're weird when we spell things the other way. So, it's all good. We can figure it out, right? Our proofreaders are freaking fabulous. And if they didn't catch it, it's probably spelled correctly for whatever country the designer, the article writer lives in. Okay, we have a couple more comments here. Oh, I think we got this one. Wore those skirts every day and dance. Exactly. And that's exactly how Monique spells it, so it's all good. Monique lives in Canada. A lot of Canadians, in Canada, they tend to use the British English with spelling as well. Monica over on Instagram says, I'm making an amigurumi for my granddaughter and I'm using chenille yarn. It's not very forgiving. Yes. The series of patterns that series of articles Joanne is writing, they're more on the different fibers of yarn, like how to have success with different fibers. More so than like chenille versus boucle versus that sort of thing. But yeah, chenille yarn just isn't forgiving. It depends again on how it's made. Like some of them will frog, some of them will just start acting like those little, like, the dandelions when they turn into the white fluff balls that go and all the things fly away. Some chenille yarns, if you frog them, they just do the and all the stuff flies away, and some don't. Some stick together. It kind of depends. You just have to find the ones that work. Monique is like, yeah, never mind, not going to use that. And then I also have a series. It's actually, there are 12 parts to the series, but I divided it into 3 sections to put in this issue, the April-May issue, and then the summer issue that'll come out. So the April-May issue comes out in April, and the summer issue comes out in May. And it is all about what is your signature style and why should you find yours, and then mainly it's also about how you can find yours. Okay, so that's what these different lessons are. And again, if you're a patron over on Patreon, you'll find some additional resources for you in there. All right, so we go through that. All right, and then we start with our patterns, and this is the Floral Edge set by Smitha Crasta. And you can see it has a top that's like a buttoned up vest top and a cute little skirt. All right, with the little whatchamacallits, lacy edge. So this is just, it's a really nice warm weather project. And with the sets, we start off by telling you the total amount of yarn you'll need and the hooks and the notions you'll need for the full set, and also the yarn review. Then we break it down into one piece at a time. So here's the floral edge top. And if you're making just the top, this is what you need. So if you're making the full set, this gives you the combined what you need. So you can, because if you take what you need for the top and you take what you need for the skirt, especially if you say, oh, the top says it needs 3 skeins of yarn and the skirt says it needs 3 skeins of yarn, so I'll buy 6 skeins of yarn. Well, it might actually be that, well, okay, so maybe that was unrealistic looking at these numbers. So the top says I need 5 skeins of yarn and the skirt says I need 5 skeins of yarn. So I actually need 10 skeins of yarn. Well, maybe you only need 9 because it's actually like 4.5 and 4.5 or whatever. Okay. So while this gives you the, if you're making the whole entire set, this is what you need. And then when we get down here, this will tell you just for whichever part. So here we have the pattern for just the top. Okay. And there we have the pattern for the top. And bonus tips. And then here we have the pattern for the floral edge skirt. So this is just the skirt. You can see it has this nice little tie on it. And the how much yarn and everything you need for just the skirt. Okay. And and as usual, as we started with in January, and we are going to continue with, we have the fabulous color planning sketches made by Kyla, my daughter. So that is here. And then we move on to the Mermaid's Purse set. And it's called the Mermaid's Purse set, not because this is a purse. It's called the Mermaid's Purse set because a mermaid's purse is actually, we're going to see some later, they're actually the egg cases of skates, rays, and some sharks. And so we'll see what they look like here in a bit. And they are the inspiration behind this shape. Okay. So the Mermaid's Purse set, here's what you need for the full set. And here is the yarn review. And this is Cascade Ultra Pima Fine. And here is the pattern for just the top. Okay. And you can see the back looks like the front. And here we have the pattern for just the top. La, 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 la. It's a long pattern. Woo-hoo. And look, here's a little bonus, how to search for mermaid purses. So you can see, like, look at this shape. These are some different kinds of mermaid's purses. And she tells you a little bit about like how you can find them. Okay. I always thought these were seaweed, guys. I just assumed they were like some weird part of seaweed, right? Like when you were kids, did you pop these? And now I'm like, oh my gosh, we popped these. These were egg sacs. That's not good, right? Because you didn't know that. I don't know, like, I don't know. I mean, there are some, you know what, the seaweed that we popped actually, seaweed I remember popping looked different than this. It actually looked more like bubbles. So maybe that was seaweed. I don't know, but I'm never going to pop seaweed again now that I know that it might actually be somebody's egg sac. All right. So no more popping seaweed for me. I had no idea. All right. So that's what actual mermaid purses are. And here is the mermaid purse bag. It's not a mermaid purse. It's a mermaid's purse bag. With a cute little button to keep it closed. All right, so here's the pattern for that. And whew, chilly down here. Here are some of Rachel's amazing testers. I think there's more, yeah. All right, so here is one of the testers, Sam. This is her top and her little bag. And then we have Nikita made one. Rachel, our designer, made a second one. And look, I love the way she separated the colors here. And this is actually a really flattering look, right? To give it this little fun little center panel here. Then Dee over here, she made hers longer. Okay. And that is, I'm almost positive that is explained in the sorry, it's not, this is the purse. In the customization, it explains how to make it longer. And then Emma she made each of the halves a different color, and also made the little bag. And then here are the color in for the top and the purse, the color planning. But then our bonus tutorial here is Rachel teaches you how to take your mermaid's purse bag and turn it into a big old tote bag. So that is super cool. And now we have, this was from the behind the design section. This is what we looked at with the shorts and the skirt. And look, I love that she actually did them in 2 different colors, and they work so nicely together. And I love the shorts being a little bit of a darker color and the skirt being brighter, because that what happens is it really shows off that lace pattern of the skirt, right? And remember how this was done as a table runner and there were just tassels on the ends of each of these little sections? Instead of doing it that way, she made this fun little knotted section at the bottom with fringe, which I love. It's so cool. And this is the Boho Bliss Duo set. So here is what you need for the full set. Okay. And so we have the yarn for just the shorts, the yarn for just the skirt, since they're 2 different colors. But if you're using only one color for both parts, then this is how much you need. So again, you can see that with our first size, you would need 3 skeins for the shorts and 2 skeins for the skirt. But if you're using the same color, you only need 4 skeins. Okay. But there's 3 for the second size. There's 3 for the shorts, 2 for the skirt, and you do still need a full 5 skeins if you're making the second color. So here we go. There's a few more comments. Dory is here. Hi, Dory. Monique says it's very cute and that she loves the shop. Yes. This is this is great for the summer and for cover up and for a cover for swimwear. Exactly. And the lace is beautiful. Yes. So that's one of the reasons why, we wanted to have the patterns each separately, because you might only want one section, one of the 2 pieces, right? I'm going to run out of water before I'm going to run out of voice before and water. All right. So here we have the pattern for the shorts, and you can look at these shorts, and guys, I am so impressed with Shimmy and the way she made the shorts. Okay. So like the pattern for the shorts, as somebody who comes from who has a major sewing background as well as crochet and knit, I really appreciate the actual pattern for these shorts, because they fit the body properly, which means they're going to look good on, right? It's patterns for shorts and pants that transition between the hips to the legs, right? It's not easy, guys. And getting it so that it looks really good and not funky and boxy and everything, not easy. Especially if you're counting for, various sizes. And this is written really, really well. So I'm very impressed. All right. I mean, yes, we always use tech editors, so it's always written in a way you can understand it and everything like that. But just the technique of how she did all of this, it's really impressive. And she breaks it down so it's not like totally intimidating. Okay. Yes, it's an intermediate pattern, but it's not hard. It's not intimidating. It's actually it's a really well written pattern that gives you a really, really nice result. Okay. You can see this fits really nicely. And she explains how to change the rises, like how high up you want the waist to fall. Like, you do want the waist to be really high, really low, whatever. The length of the shorts, you can make the shorts an A-line. Okay, you can adjust the ease on the shorts. And it even tells you how to omit the short rows. The short rows are going to make it fit better, but she tells you how to omit the short rows if you just really don't want to do them. All right, and now we have the wrap skirt, which is a much shorter pattern because it's basically a rectangle here with a drawstring. And she tells you how to do those fun little knotted diamond fringe and the tassels and everything. Okay. And then we have our tester gallery. So this one is obviously, just like Monique said, using it for a swimsuit cover up. She's got her little swimsuit on. She's got a little cover up on, right? And then again, we have somebody who did a darker pair of shorts, okay, and a contrasting color for the skirt so that they you'll be able to kind of really notice the lace up against the contrasting color of the skirt, of the shorts, I mean. And her skirt, she did a little shorter. This person, I love it, did the A-line version. You see her shorts, how she's using the A-line alteration in the pattern? Really cute. If you're somebody like, I would probably want to do the A-line version because I feel like that would look a little bit more flattering on me. And I'd probably make it a little bit longer too, because I feel like that would flatter my body more. And I love that the shorts also include the drawstring, because even with the ribbing, sometimes you still need the drawstring. Okay, so that's just awesome. It's got the ribbing and the drawstring both. Gives you feel secure that your shorts are actually going to stay on. You don't want them falling off. And then here is the skirt that she made that'll go over it, which is going to look adorable, right? All right, and then we have an absolutely awesome, guys, I have to hit the grocery store probably tomorrow, and I'm grabbing whatever I don't have. I don't think I have cashews. I don't know where to get melon seeds. I'm gonna have to like look that up. Everything else I either already have or I can buy. I think the only thing I don't have in here are melon seeds, cashews. I think I'm out of cashews. Not entirely sure I have poppy seeds, but I know where I get those. I have cardamom, I have fennel. I don't like saffron, so I won't put it in. And I have like a rose thing too. So I'm totally, I want to try this. I really do. But I might actually try it with almond milk. Not that I have any problem with regular milk, but just because. Oh, Dory says probably an Asian market for melon seeds, or possibly, you know what? There is actually, on the way to the grocery store, there is an Indian market, and I know that this is a drink both in Pakistan and in India. And actually, the designer Rashmi is from India, so I'm wondering. I should stop by that Indian market and see if they have it. That's actually that they might. Haha. I've been wanting to stop in there anyway. I'm not sure if Sarah is asking Dory or I if we're feeling better. I am feeling better, and Dory, we weren't sure if you weren't there this morning because you couldn't show because of the timing, or because you were sick, or because my timing with sharing the link was horrid. So either way, we missed you this morning. So, all right, now we go on to the My Bow set, designed by yours truly. And this is with our our second most recent yarn partner, Knit Collage. Okay, and their yarn is so freaking fun, guys. Oh my God, it is so fun. Okay, we have, oh no, Monica over on Instagram says, too bad I'm allergic to tree nuts. That is a bummer. Can't try that. You can't make that drink. So Knit Collage has some really, really fun yarns, and they do have yarns made like traditional yarn, but for this particular pattern, I used yarn that is made out of fabric and a little bit of yarn that is basically ribbon. Okay, so most of this yarn is like strips of fabric. Okay, and then there's a little bit, it's the last couple rounds of the hat, and every other row of the belt are made with this ribbon yarn. All right, so you can see these are all the fabric yarns. This one right here is the ribbon yarn, and that's the ribbon that was tying some of them together. And so here is everything you need for the My Bow set. And yes, My Bow set, it's a play on words because there's bows everywhere, like BOW, bow everywhere in the pattern, but bow, BEAU, is like your significant other. Usually if your significant other is a male, it's like my love, but specifically for a guy. Said if your love is a guy. Who says it, male or female, doesn't matter, but it's said if the person you're talking about is a guy. is usually, I've certainly heard people use beau when they're talking about their female significant other, but most of the time, I believe the proper use, if you're talking about French, is that it is about your male significant other, like, and specifically significant other kind of love, not just like, when you love your friend, how you love a friend or a relative or whatever. All right, Dory says timing, she's out of the house most Wednesday mornings. Okay, so part of me was thinking you couldn't do mornings, but I couldn't remember. Monique loves knit collage. I know, she was so excited when we got them as a yarn partner. And Dory's hoping that she can be there next week. That would be awesome, Dory. We miss you when you're not around. We love having you in our lives. All right, so here we go with the My Beau set. And here is the fabulous Katie looking through the barn window with the hat it's actually made in rows, and each row is started and ended with a long piece of yarn. So you can see this purple is actually the fabric strip yarn, and then this multicolor underneath, that is the dyed ribbon yarn. And what I did with each individual row, I tied a bow. So it's just a whole stack of bows. Okay, and then there's all the little ends. You could tie them all together in one bundle, or you can stack them. I did starch this, and I actually just used liquid starch, like what you can buy at the grocery store, to starch like the collars of men's shirts or whatever. And I do explain how to do that, but basically what I did was I set it down on a stack of towels so that it was laying nice and flat. And I poured some of the liquid starch in a cup, and you can take like a rag or a paper towel or something, and you dip it in the starch, and then you just blot it on. Okay, if you have spray starch, you can spray starch, but if you are using a spray starch, I would wrap some saran wrap or something, or another towel or something around the hat, the cap of the hat, because you don't want to get any of the starch on the sides or the top of the hat, because it'll make it stiff, and you want it to move, and you want it to be comfortable. You don't want it to be scratchy or stiff. So you're just stiffening the brim. And so I did that, and then I let it dry, and it was awesome. Okay, it worked really, really well. You just want to make sure it gets saturated all the way through. Okay, and so here is the pattern for that hat. Look at that, having a little read on a pretty little bench. She's reading the Jungle Book and collected works of Rudyard Kipling. I'm like, how did I suddenly forget who wrote those? It's a Rudyard Kipling collected works book. But it's pretty. The book is pretty. So is the stories. All right, and then here we have the My Beau belt, which is basically, dude, guys, it's so simple. It's so simple. It's just, oh, you guys saw that note too. That was a text from my husband. I asked him if he could pick up my meds on the way home, but apparently he can't because my meds are refrigerated. He's not coming straight home. I knew that. I'll pick them up. Maybe I'll pick them up after I get off of this with you guys. And that gives me an excuse to stop by the Indian place. Oh my goodness. All right. So, this belt is it's just slip stitch. It's just a bunch of rows of slip stitch, and it's a little short. Okay, it doesn't wrap all the way around, so that you can then use all of these really long ends and tie them together into another bow. All right, so it's a super, super simple pattern, but it's got such a fun, playful look that's perfect for like when there's a nice breeze. I love when your clothes blow in the breeze, right? So there's that. And then here is our little bonus pattern. It is the On and Poppin' Crop Top by Narose Designs. All right, and look at all these little, see, it's popping because it's got all these little poppy bits. They don't actually pop. It's not made out of bubble wrap. Let's see. Oh wait, we got another comment. Grandma used to starch when she ironed. I got a hold of the bottle once. It was in deep trouble. I used to have to starch things. When I was in Chicago, when I lived in Chicago, I was doing costumes for production of Laughter on the 23rd Floor. And the guy who played the lead was Joey Dioria, who was also Bozo the Clown. And so it was a period, not that long ago, but it was still a period piece. And I had to starch all of the collars and cuffs of the men's shirts. Oh my goodness, so much starch. So much starch. Like, that was my job, ironing men's clothing for the show. That's what I did. Like, yeah, guys. So now, when somebody's like, can you iron this for me? I'm like, I used to get paid for that shit. Sorry. But yeah. All right, so here we go. The on and popping crop sweatshirt or sweater. All right. And the really cool thing is she has a really fun bonus tip. And the yarn reviews are just at the end of this pattern because it's only one. But the really fun thing is she did make a matching beanie pattern. You get to find it on Ravelry though. Okay. So this is linked. Okay. So you can click it. And again, remember, if you click a link in the magazine, it takes you straight there over top of the magazine. So if you don't want that to happen, right click on the link and then choose open link in new tab. All right. And that way, otherwise, if I clicked on this, it would take me to the link and take me away from the pattern, from the magazine. There's just, with the program that I use, there's no way to do it otherwise. But this is super, it's fun. It's the same yarn, and it's made to match the crop. So here you go. You can get that pattern from Naro's Design over on Ravelry. Okay. And totally, that would be so cute with the, with the top. Okay. Unfortunately, we did not have the top and a hat in the same place at any point in time, so we weren't able to get a picture of it that way, because it just kind of happened, right? Like, the whole thing just kind of ended up happening in a very organic manner, and ended up being perfect to add in as a bonus pattern for this issue. So here we have a couple different testers. We have 3 different testers here. And they all look so great. So our first tester up here, Roslyn, look at that. You can see she made hers a little bit longer, right? And it's an adorable photo. And look at her. She's like so happy. And then this one is just like so sassy and awesome, and I love it. And hers is like the regular crop length and everything. And that is a Zonette. She seems like a very nice lady, I have to say. I made a mistake with her code when I gave her her free magazine, and she emailed me to let me know, because if you're a tester, you get a free copy of the magazine. And she was very nice. Sometimes, like, when something goes wrong, you get to meet some of the nicest people that way, right? When they're like, hi, I have a problem. Could you help me, please? And I'm like, I would love to help you. Like, I love it, guys. I don't like when there's a problem, but I'm so happy when, if you have a problem, you email me and you allow me to fix it for you. Okay. Because I want everybody to be happy. Okay. And I don't look at a tester getting a free pattern as a different kind of customer than any other customer. They worked. If anything, I want them to be even more happy, right? Because they worked for their pattern, for their magazine. All right. And so I want everybody to be happy. And if you have a problem, I want you to email me and let me know so that I can fix it. Okay. I want to be able to fix the problems. I want to know what the problems are so I can hopefully not make them again. But when it's like a glitch or a typo or things that just happen, please allow me to fix it. I love it. And then here we have Illa, who sometimes designs for us as well, and also tests for some of our designers. So I love this one. I think I just saw a post it looks like I missed. Here we go. Monique, how do you keep the slip stitches loose you find it hard working with? Yes. One thing you can do is when you're making like the belt that's all in slip stitches, is you could use like the one size hook for the very first row, but then when you're at then for the rest of them as you're slip stitching in, what you could do is use a larger hook to keep them from being too tight. Or you just, I mean, like, I know sometimes if I'm making something like with the crochet along the hooded cabled cape, um on the hood section it starts with, it goes slip stitches to single crochet to half double to double and then back down to half double single and then slip stitch. And you have to, what I'll usually do is when I pull up the loop, I'll kind of give it a little bit more of a tug to make that loop a little looser. And then when I make the next slip stitch, I try really hard not to accidentally pull it tight. Because that's a lot of times where it happens is you either didn't pull it up high enough, or when you made the next stitch, you pulled the tail end and tightened that slip stitch. But it is a very, very common problem for slip stitches to be too tight. So another way you can fix it, like something like the hooded cabled cape where you're making slip stitches and other stitches, is maybe use a bigger hook just for the slip stitches and then the regular size hook for the rest. And if you're making something that's made entirely in slip stitches, you can just go up one or two hook sizes if you find that your slip stitches are too tight, and just be really, really mindful of not tightening those stitches. You have to kind of think differently when you're doing slip stitch crochet, so that you don't drive yourself batty. Know that all ballerina costumes are heavily starched, including the tutus. Yes. I actually had the incredible honor of doing some restoration work for the Joffrey Ballet's Nutcracker. So the Joffrey Ballet is the big ballet company in Chicago. It's like here in New York, we have the American Ballet Company. And in Chicago, they have the Joffrey Ballet. And back in like 94-ish, I was, before they did their production of the Nutcracker that year, I think it was actually the 93 Christmas of 93 that season. I was able to, they needed some of their stuff like just fixed and restored and everything, and I was able to be on the team that helped out with that, and it was incredible. These costumes, oh my goodness, guys, so incredible. And yeah, heavily starched, heavily everything. They are intense. Definitely. Yeah. All right, so the beanie, it does kind of look like a sand dollar. Yeah, like right up here. That's really cool. I haven't thought of that. And you know what? The really funny thing is, when I looked at the top view of that, I was like, I knew it looked like something, but I didn't really think about it much. But you're right. It totally looks like a sand dollar like that. That's so cool. All right. So here we have those. And then we have the little interview for the cover pattern like we normally do. So here's Rachel's interview. And some of the things that she talked about in the interview. And of course, we have the puzzles and the answers to last month's puzzles. We have yarn subs. All right. So as usual, there's the link to the suggested yarn and 3 yarn subs. I try to make sure there's a variety of prices. And if it's something that people may be allergic to, or not like working with, I try to make sure there's a variety of fibers. So here we go, something that was made with acrylic, because this is a spring pattern. I came up with some that natural. So here's a Pima cotton and linen if you want something that's going to breathe a little bit more. And then this one is a combination of acrylic and bamboo, and yeah, I don't know that anything was made with anything really woolly. A lot of times if it's made with a animal fiber, I'll try to make sure that there's a natural and or that there's a plant fiber and or a man-made kind of fiber, again, to deal with allergies. And also I try to make sure there's a variety, like I said, of price points, and of that there's enough variety that no matter where you live in the world, hopefully there's something here that you can actually get a hold of. The hard ones were the My Bow set, because that yarn is so specific. Okay, so some of these, it's a different kind of yarn. I'm not as certain that these will all work. These are all things that I thought would probably work. Like Barocco Bestie is actually just a jumbo yarn, right? It's like traditional yarn kind of yarn. But I think it would probably work if you wanted a hat made that way. The rest of these are similar kinds of yarns. Maybe like a jersey yarn, like the t-shirt kind of yarn. This one is a faux leather. Haven't worked with it, but I was like, it might work. It's going to be a different look. It might be a better look for a fall, but anyway, so here we go. Yarn suggestions. And of course, the full page of color planning sketches. And then when you get the magazine, you get 2 PDFs when you get the magazine. And one of them is the magazine, and the other one has just the patterns without the additional photos in it. And then at the end is a larger version of each of the color planning sketches. So that way, if you want to print them out, you can print out from that second PDF, just whichever pattern you're making, and then you can mark it up and everything, and you have larger versions of the color planning sketches to color in. So there's about a million different ways to print out these color planning sketches. All right. Community scrapbook. So this is from the crochet along that we've been talking about. All right. Here's the original pattern. Okay. And then here are various versions, and Maya the cat. Here are some sneak peeks of what's coming up in the next issue of Crochet Foundry, our fun little question of the month feature, and that is it. And it is 102. Oh my goodness. Something sounds fun. And yes, it does look like a sand dollar. Oh, I think my thing with the Joffrey Ballet, it was incredible. And because I wasn't actually union, they weren't able to like pay me. So, and I mean, but I knew going in, they were looking for people to do it. And they're like, if you're not union, we can't officially pay you. You have to volunteer to do this. We will, write you a little thank you letter that you can use like with your resume or whatever. And you get free tickets to the show. So I had to the Joffrey Ballet Nutcracker, like front and center, like Orchestra Street seats center, the best freaking seats in the house to the Joffrey Ballet Nutcracker. And I am totally spoiled now. It was amazing. And completely worth every moment of time that I spent working on that. And I mean, like, I probably would have done that without being paid, because it was just such an incredible experience. It really was. All right. So there we go, guys. And I have to go because it's after 1, and I have to go because I'm now out of water and have no more voice left because I've been talking since 10 a.m. since we had that thing before this. The live, like, yes, it was amazing seating. Absolutely amazing. I saw the Joffrey Ballet front and center, and I saw Pink Floyd Division Bell Tour front and center. Those were both really freaking amazing experiences. All right. Thank you, everybody. Keep an eye on your email for your newsletters every Saturday. And please come and join us on our, not just the Lunch with the Foundries, but our lives every other Wednesday, the first and third Wednesday of the month. The live Zoom meetings are for everybody. The second and fourth Wednesdays of the month, the live Zoom meetings are for our Patreon patrons. You can hop on over to Patreon. We are we are Patreon at the Foundry. So you can hop over to Patreon and search at the Foundry, and that is where we are. And I look forward to seeing you all again. And I think I'm going to run over to that Indian store and see if they have melon seeds so I can try making that drink in the March issue, because now I'm really excited about it. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.